Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session, our writing session. It's time for us to go ahead and begin our lesson for this hour. Please feel free to join me in the Hangout, and we'll get started right away with our writing session for tonight. Hello, Ruben. Welcome to class. It's great to have you here with us. When you're ready, please go ahead, come on into the Hangout, and that way we'll get you participating in our lesson. All right, very good. Once again, it's time for us to go ahead and get our lesson started. Once you're able to and ready, come on into the Hangout and we'll go ahead and get our lesson started. As you can see from our class description, we're going to be writing at least a paragraph or two, and the point of our writing tonight is to motivate a friend or family to continue learning English. We all know that learning a language has its challenges. Okay, so you're going to tell them about a challenge that you've had learning English and what you did to overcome it. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, good. So Ruben, you're going to watch our lesson for today. Good, very good. All right. All right, well, good. It looks like you're going to be you can participate here in the chat, Ruben. Would you like to participate in the lesson for tonight, Ruben? We can do so here in the chat. All right, very good. Okay, well, let's see. So, Ruben, let's go ahead and maybe I can have you answer me in the chat. That'd be great. So, Ruben, how long have you been learning English, Ruben? Okay, very good. All right, and let's see, Ismail, thank you for joining us here in our Hangout. It's great to see you again. Welcome back.
Hi, hi, Carissa. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well, Ismail. Good. Well, we have just a couple of folks here with us, Ismail. Tonight, for this hour, we're going to work on our writing. In our last hour, we worked on our reading and our pronunciation and our reading endurance. All right, but right now, what we're going to do is we're going to work on some writing skills. And I've chosen a topic tonight that all of our second our English learners have faced, and that is challenges to learning English. All right, so first I'd like to talk about a few of those, and then we're going to get right into our writing. Okay, so um, let's see. Ismail, tell me once again, how long have you been learning English?
My story is a little different actually, Carissa.
Mm-hmm.
I I have no school background in English, especially. I learned during my school life German, and after I started to work, uh, it was a necessity for me to learn English because uh, everything depends on a foreign language at workplace. If you want to have a training outland, you have to know English and you show an English proficiency. And I start to study English, but then I uh, took a break and I study not long time actually.
Okay, all right. So you took a break, and then in the time that you took a break from studying English, were you still practicing your English? Were you still talking to people in English?
No, actually, there is no opportunity at my workplace to find uh, an English speaking coworker or native speaker. But I am going to change my workplace and I have to get some score from TOEFL or IELTS or TOEIC. That's why uh, I try to improve my English, but it is difficult actually. I am 42 years old. I forget many things after I learned.
Yes. Yeah, so retention sometimes can be a challenge to learning English at any age, actually. So let's talk about some practical things that can be done to overcome some of those challenges. Okay, so for example, some people, and I know in my case, I am learning a language. I'm learning a language called Novere. I live in southern Costa Rica, and there's an Indian group here. And one of the things that I'm finding helpful is to write a list of vocabulary and put it on my refrigerator door. Some others have put other helpful things on the walls. Okay, so they may have come up with helpful charts or information where they can constantly see the new language. All right, now what do you think about that, Ismail? Do you think that could help you?
Yes, I think it would be a useful method, and I saw some site on the net. They are they are constructing a website, Carissa. You
Mm-hmm.
can see many words in a concept actually with
Okay.
different color,
Hmm.
and there is a title uh, on the top of the page. You can
Uh-huh.
print out and maybe you put it on the wall or on the office uh, table, and you can study from this sheet.
Uh-huh.
Words.
Okay. And what's the name of the website?
I don't remember now. Actually, it was a creative compound name which is connected together. Two names are going into each other, and but I don't remember.
Okay. All
Like
right.
like Verbling, something Verbling. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Okay. All right. So it's a name like Verbling, a
yes, the
combination of
same,
words.
a
Uh-huh.
combination of two words, but in a different way.
Hmm. Okay. Well, maybe if you happen to find that website again, maybe in a future class when you see me, you can go ahead and share that with me. That sounds like a very interesting website. Okay, very good. Uh-huh.
I feel uh, uh, how can I say, my school background. I have no school background on English, and I feel deeply uh, this abundance. I
Mm-hmm.
learned a grammatical rule, but how can I say? After a while, I'm going to forget the rules, or I mix with another rules, and I make some failure actually.
Okay, yeah, so that's true. So sometimes the problem is that we don't remember what the rules are, or you get them confused or mixed up. hmm and one remedy to that is to just it's just use. One way I think is if you continue to read in the English language, then you'll see a lot of the rules in action. Okay, yeah, so in action. Okay, so let's see. All right, very good. Give me 1 second. Go to. Okay, very good. All right, so let's talk about that just a little bit. Okay, what we're going to do with the focus of our writing today, Ismail, and those of you who are listening in, is to encourage someone else who is learning English. Now, you have told me about your personal experience and how you felt, some challenges that you've had. All right. Now, someone else learning English will likely have challenges as well. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to write an encouraging letter, okay, to help them not to give up in their quest to speak English better or to understand English better. Okay. So Ismail, who would you like to write to? Do you have anybody in mind that you would like to write to?
Yes, I can write to my nephew
Okay. All
because
right. Mm-hmm.
he is at university. Maybe I can enlighten him a little.
Good, that's true. Good. So you have an experience that you can use to encourage him. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with that letter. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write here in the chat box. Yeah, we're going to write here in the chat box. And so you're going to address your letter to your nephew. Okay, so for example, if I was writing to someone, maybe a friend or a family member, I might say, for example, dear. Okay, dear Tasha. Okay, so this is how I may start my letter. All right, you see that dear is capitalized and also the name Tasha because it's a personal name. Okay, and then you put your comma.
Yes.
Okay, good. So Ishmael, go ahead and address your letter. You can do it right here in the chat box.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Nice job. Okay, now you want to get right to the point of your letter. Okay, since this is a personal letter, you might try asking the person how they are. Okay, so I may say, for example, how are you? Or I may say, how have you been? Okay, so some type of question of interest. Okay, and Ruben, if you would like to participate here in the chat, go ahead. You can go ahead and type here in the chat box. Okay, address your letter, and then let's have some type of question of interest. Good. Good job, Ismail. Very good. All right, now just make sure that when you have a question, you want to make sure that you have correct punctuation at the end. All right, so your first question, how are you? You want to make sure that you have a question mark at the end. Okay? Good. Good job. So I hope that you and your family are okay. Good. All right. Now, again, the point of the letter. Okay, so you may be wondering how he's doing in English at the university. All right, so that may be another question that you could say. All right, so if I'm going to continue writing to Tasha, I might say, okay, how have you been? Um, I've been taking English classes online, and I thought of you. Okay, and I thought of you. Okay, and so then I might ask, how are your English classes going? Okay, so there are a couple of thoughts. All right, so go ahead, Ishmael, continue your letter. So you said, how are you? I hope that you and your family are okay. What else do you want to say to your nephew? Okay, very good. Great. So take your time with that writing. All right. Okay, good. Ishmael says, all right, so how is going your English studies? I want to share with you my English learning experiences. All right, very good. Very good. Okay. All right, so let's see how, all right, very good. Now, you want to make sure that your subject and your verb agree. Okay, so you're talking about your English studies. You're asking about your nephew's English studies. All right, so you want to use a plural verb. Okay, so you could say how are, that's plural, how are, and put your the English classes next. Okay, how are your English studies going? Okay, so make sure that your subject and your verb agree. Okay, and then you say, I want to share with you my English learning experiences. Very good. All right, the only thing is that you want to make sure that you double check your spelling. Okay, so learning is like this. Very good. Okay, nice job. Okay, so the person knows exactly what you are going to talk about in your letter right up front. Okay, excellent job. Okay, all right. So now you're going to share your English experiences. Very good. Okay, so I started to join in verbal classes on the internet. Okay, very good. Okay, so let's say, um, uh, okay, so instead of saying I started to join in, let's say I started taking. I started taking verbal classes on the internet. Maybe your nephew may or may not know about verbaling. You could also say that you started taking English classes. Okay, this is just an idea. Okay, so I started taking English classes online through or with a company Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Okay, so those are two different ways that you can start talking about your classes. Okay, all right, just give me 1 second. Okay, all right, very good. Thank you, Francis. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us here in class. It's nice to have you here. All right. Okay, so Francis, we're just working on a letter. We're working on a letter to a friend, and we are encouraging our friend to continue learning English despite frustrations. Okay, so we're writing the letter in the chat box. All right, so to get you started, Francis, all right, think about who you want to write your letter to. Okay, so if you scroll up on the Verbaling website, you'll see Dear such and such. Okay, all right, so just scroll up a little, Francis, on the Verbaling website chat, and then you'll see exactly how to start your letter. All right, very good. So Ishmael says it was a very useful site to improve your English with native teachers. Very good. All right, good, Ishmael. Okay, so here you want to say it is, okay, because it is something that's still current and still true. All right, so you can say it is or verbaling. Verbaling, useful site to improve your English. Very good. With, okay, and here we can leave out the word the. Okay, and simply say with native English, with native English speakers. Or native English speaking teachers. Okay, however you want to say that. Okay, very good, Ruben. You're giving me a very good sample. All right, now let's talk about a challenge. Okay, let's talk about something that you found a bit challenging. Okay, so I could say at first, comma, I had a hard time remembering grammar rules. But then, as I took it was easier, or it got easier, it was easier for me to remember the rules. Okay, so something of that sort. So talk about a challenge that you had and talk about how taking classes here at Verbaling helped you. Okay, all right, and so Ruben, you said, firstly, I would like telling you that English is a great language. It is too interesting. All right, actually, I don't know if you are studying English. Are you? All right, Ruben, thank you very much. All right, so your sample starts off very well. Firstly, okay, now when you use the modal verb would like, Okay, it expresses a desire. Okay, but with that verb, the infinitive verb follows. Okay, so you would say, I would like to tell you that English, and you continue your sentence. That English is a great language. Okay, and then you would also continue by saying, it it is very interesting. Okay, when you use the word too, that means there's too much of it. Okay, so we want to try to use a different word. So very interesting is also a great way to say that. Okay, and let's see what again. Okay, so you said, actually, I don't know if you're studying English, comma, are you? That's a good way to ask that. Okay, very good, good. Okay, and let's see, Ismail, you said you can Google it, find it on the net. It is an excellent environment. Okay, yeah. Okay, you wanna see, you can Google it. Yeah, so it's, oh really? All right, so let's say here, okay, you can find, let's say you can find the website online by Googling it or through by using Google. And then you continue with the sentence. It's an excellent environment. Okay, Ismail, you said firstly I had a hard time remembering grammar rules. Then as I took it, was easier for me to remember the rules. I was a little shy at the begin. Okay, it is an international environment. Okay, very good. Now I like how you're starting off with a sequence word. Firstly, okay. Now I want to show you a variation of that. Okay, let's say at first. Okay, so at first, I had a hard time remembering grammar rules. Okay, I'm just going to change it, just make a couple of adjustments here. So at first, I had a hard time. No, I lost it. Remembering grammar rules. Then, as I took it, okay, so when you're talking about it, Ismail, okay, you're referring back to something else that you talked about. Okay, but remember, if you're talking about something that's plural, classes is plural. Okay, so as I took, let's see, more classes, you could say, as I took more classes, it was easier for me to remember the rules. I was a little shy at the, and let's say at the beginning. I was a little shy at the beginning, or in the beginning. Let's say in the beginning. You could say at first as well. I was a little shy at first or in the beginning. You could also say when I first started. And you might want to link these. Okay, maybe your shyness was because, okay, because it is an international environment, learning environment. Okay, because it is an international learning environment. Okay, so the only things that I adjusted here, Ishmael, were just a couple of things. Okay, instead of saying firstly, let's use at first. Okay, so it talks about at the beginning of your experience here at Verbaling. I had a hard time remembering grammar rules. Then, as I took more classes, it was easier for me to remember the rules. I was a little shy in the beginning because it is an international environment. Okay, and we can also say an international learning environment. Okay, all right, Ismail, what do you think about some of the suggestions I'm making to your writing?
Carissa, uh, Yes. I When I write, I sometimes lose or uh, couldn't find the right grammar rule and make some failure. Actually, uh, if I if you remember me, I remembered the rules and I understand my fault.
Okay, so
But uh, I usually make the same fault uh, again and again.
okay. All right. As a result of this challenge, okay, the challenge of remembering the grammar rules, I would make many grammar mistakes, or let's say errors. Errors over and again and again. All right, so that's a good way to express that. Okay, as a result of this challenge, I would make many grammar errors again and again. Okay. All right. So that's the challenge. That was the challenge and the result of that challenge. All right. So what happened, Ishmael? What practical thing did you do that helps you now to remember the grammar rules and to make less mistakes?
Uh, Actually, Carissa, if I had time, I would correct my writing, but it takes a little time for me. If I have a chance and to read, if I had enough time to read again and edit my writing, I can correct my fault. Not all of them, but I can correct many of them. But it is a race against time. If I think some of the exams, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
I have to write and correct and edit in a defined time period.
Okay. All right. Yes, that's true. All right. It's really nice if you are able to take the time to do that. One thing that may be a little bit helpful, or maybe helpful, is to use a good spell checker, just to make sure that your spelling is correct, and also to use if maybe your word processor has a grammar check on it. Okay, so if in that way that your computer system, your word processor, will underline the words so that you will know which words are either misspelled or where your grammar isn't clear.
Yes.
Uh-huh. All right, very good. Okay, I'm putting together your document right now. All right, I just including some of the adjustments that we made to your sentences. All right, I'm going to see if I can put that all together here, and then I'm going to share my screen with you. That way it might be a little bit easier to see that you're putting together a letter. Okay, just give me one more second, one moment. Okay, and then we'll take a look at your letter all together. Okay, so I'm just about done. Just give me one more moment, and then we'll take a look at your article or your letter online. Take a look at it together. Okay. All right, I'm just about done. All right, so I'm just going to change the font size so we can all see it, and then we'll take a look at some of the changes that we made. Okay, very good. So there's your font, and let's see if we can share that screen. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you right now, Ismail. Okay, so can you see what's on the screen right now, Ismail?
Yes, Carissa.
Uh-huh. All right. Okay, so all right, so let's take a look. Okay, so again, you started off your letter very well. Okay, hello, Gure, is that correct, Gure?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Uh-huh. So how are you? I hope that you and your family are okay. Very good. All right, so you could either say, and I want you to tell me which sentence you prefer. I started taking Verbaling classes on the internet, or I started taking English classes online with a company called Verbaling. Which of those two sentences do you like better?
The second one
Okay.
is better, Carissa, but yes.
All right. Very good. Okay, so at Verbaling. Okay, now here we go. At first, I had a hard time remembering grammar rules. Okay, but then as I took classes at Verbaling, it was easier. Okay, let's say it was or it became. Let's say it became. It's a process. It became easier, okay, for me to remember the rules. Being in a Verbaling class was stressful for me. Okay. All right. Let's say let's introduce this by saying I have to admit that being in a Verbaling class was stressful for me. Okay. Um, all right. And I think this part you can find the website by using Google. I think that was here at the top. Okay. And let's move this down. Okay. So your first sentence, your first paragraph is there. And let's put this at the top as well. Let's try that. Let's see. Let's just see if we can put that there. Maybe that makes sense. All right. And then at first, all right. Let's just see to remember the grammar rules. There we go. Let's put that sentence down here. I'm going to change it from the top. Okay, so I have to admit that being in a Verbaling class was stressful for me. I was a little shy in the beginning because it is an international, let's put learning environment here. Maybe that sounds a bit better. An learning environment. Okay, so meaning that there are lots of different students from other parts of the world. Okay. And then this part down here at the bottom, as a result of this challenge, I would make mistakes. Okay, let's put that at the top. Okay. Let's see if I can put that there. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Let's move this to the part where you said that it's an international learning environment. All right, so I think that's down at the bottom. Okay, let's move that up and put this down here. All right, okay, so let's take a look at it. Okay, so Ismail, can you please read the letter for me? And if there's something that you feel like you need to change as you're reading, then just go ahead and tell me and I'll go ahead and make the correction. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, let me scroll back up. All right, go ahead.
Dear Gurai, how are you? I hope that you and your family are okay. I started taking English classes online
Oh, sorry,
with
we
a,
need to change
with
that.
a company called Verbling. You can find the website online by using Google. I have to admit that being in a Verbling class was stressful for me.
Mm.
At first,
Uh-huh.
at first I had a hard time remembering grammar rules, and as a result of this challenge, I would make many grammar errors again and again. I would make or I made, I
Mm-hmm.
were making,
Okay, let's change that to made.
I was making,
Mm-hmm. I made.
made many grammar errors again and again. As I took more classes at Verbling, it became easier for me to remember the grammar rules. If I had more time, I would review my writing and make needed corrections.
Mm-hmm. So I took this sentence from the top because it didn't sound right at the end of that first paragraph. So let's try it here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit that being in a Verbling class was stressful for me. I was a little shy in the beginning because it is an international learning environment. Furthermore, I couldn't understand the spoken English because every people were speaking with their own dialect. But after a while, I get used to it. Katsu, I want to ask, it is a long-lasting and
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, ask your question again.
it's a long-lasting event and it occur again and again. Should we use in past continuous tense in this situation?
Mm-hmm. Here where you say I made many grammar errors again and again. Okay.
No, I mean everyone spoke with a different accent and
But after a while I got used to it. Okay. Um,
for a while I couldn't understand what is going on actually.
mm-hmm. Okay, good. So that's a very good question. So here's the change I would make. Okay, so let's see. Furthermore, comma. Furthermore, I couldn't understand the spoken English. Let's change this a little bit. So I couldn't understand. Um, okay, the English that my classmates used or that my classmates spoke because everyone speaks with a different accent. Uh-huh. Okay, yeah, so we want to change the tense here. All right, so you're talking about something that something that happened but finished. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's why you're using the simple past tense. Okay, but you can also use it if you're talking about something um, that happened repeatedly over a period of time but ended. Okay, so for example, I couldn't understand the English that my classmates, put an S here, that my classmates
For a
spoke.
one month, for example.
I'm sorry, please repeat what you said.
I couldn't understand the English that my classmates spoke for a 1 month time period.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the last part of what you said. The English
If
that
I
uh-huh.
if I add uh, the end of sentence, Carissa,
Mm-hmm.
for a time period, uh, is it okay?
Ah, okay. Yes, and really you are talking about a time period. Okay, so you said furthermore, I couldn't understand the English that my classmates spoke. Your sentence is complete, okay, but you have to get to the end of the sentence. All right, so I couldn't understand the English that my classmates spoke because everyone speaks with a different accent. Okay, you're stating a simple statement of fact because your classmates still speak with a different accent. All right. But what changed is after a while. Okay, so here's your time period. After a while, instead of get used to it, let's say got. I got used to it. Okay, so now this is over. This
Yes,
thought has finished.
yes,
Okay, does that feel comfortable to you? Does that make sense?
yes.
Okay, very good. Very good. All right, and then let's see. I think that's it. Yep, that's the end of your letter. All right. So, okay, very good. I think this is a really good letter. Okay, so you start off by saying, "Dear such and such, gure," and then you ask how they're doing. You have a nice greeting there. All right, and then actually, what we can do, we can actually put this sentence down here because it actually starts a new thought. I started taking English classes online with a company called Verbaling. You can find the website online by using Google. Great. That's a great. Okay, structurally, that's good. At first, I had a hard time remembering grammar rules, and as a result of this challenge, I made uh, many grammar errors again and again. As I took more classes at Verbaling, it became easier for me to remember the grammar rules. If I had more time, I would review my writing and make needed corrections. I have to admit that being in a Verbaling class was stressful for me. I was a little shy in the beginning because it is an international learning environment. Furthermore, I couldn't understand. Um, let's say instead of saying I couldn't understand, let's say I had a hard time understanding. I had a hard time understanding the English that my classmates spoke because everyone speaks with a different accent, comma, but after a while I got used to it. hmm Okay, so now the only thing that you need to do here is to end your letter. Okay, so remember, you're trying to encourage your nephew to continue learning English. Okay, so how can you end your sentence? You need to encourage him a little bit down here at the bottom. What can you say to encourage him?
I suppose that you
Okay.
should learn English in the early age. If you get older, it gets more difficult.
Okay, all right, so let's get that there. So I suppose that you should learn English in the early age. All right, instead of saying in, let's say an. At an early age, at an age. Instead of saying if, let's say it once. Once you get older, comma, um, it gets more difficult. Or let's say it is more difficult. It is more difficult. Okay, all right, very good. So you told him that he should start that it's better to start when you're younger. All right, but now remember he's at the university. Okay, so what can you tell him that will help him to continue to keep going and not to stop learning English?
Yes. Uh, he should allocate more time to learn English, maybe.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. So I encourage you to dedicate more time, or let's use as much time as you
Possible.
can,
Yeah.
as much time as possible, or as much time as you can to learning English. Okay, how does that sound?
Yes. Good.
Okay, very good. All right, and then at the bottom you can say sincerely, or say I don't how you want to end it. Uncle,
Best
your
regards,
okay, very good.
best
So
hug, best
mhm,
wishes.
okay, all right. Which one do you prefer, best regards or best wishes?
Is there any difference, Carissa, between them?
Mm, best regards sounds just a little bit more formal. Best
For
wishes is a little bit more informal.
best wishes,
Okay, so best wishes. Okay, as an alternative, you could also say all the best.
all the best.
hmm All the best, whichever one you'd like to choose. And then I don't know how you address yourself. Do you just say your name, Ismail, or do you say Uncle Ishmael?
Uncle Ismail.
Okay. All right, very good. So here is your completed letter.
Thank you, Carissa.
You're welcome. Now, let's see what I'm going to do here. I'm not sure how this is going to work, but let's see. I'm just going to put it back in the chat for you. Okay, I'm going to put that right back in the chat for you. All right, and there it is. Okay, so I don't know if there's a if you have a copy feature, but there is your letter in the chat box. Okay, complete with all the corrections that we made together. All right, and the words that you wanted to say. Oh, I think it got copied twice. Okay, well, Ishmael, thank you for coming to our writing lab. All right, this was very nice, and it actually seems that you were able to get a one-on-one session.
Thank you, Carissa. Thank you very much for your
You're
help.
you're welcome. I'm glad that this was helpful to you, and hopefully this will help you as you continue to write letters of encouragement. All right, well, have a good night, Ismail. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, Carissa. See you.
You're okay. You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye bye.